Came a long way. Oh, so let it ring. They gon' hate. Smoke this day. Gun.
Alright, it has been a while since I've been doing this. Yes, TEW back on the channel. A lot of you might be surprised about this. Fans of the New Japan series that 370 Gaming and I do, you saw, or at least you probably saw, that I kind of announced that I would stop doing TW on the channel, at least a retirement. That sounds like bullshit, though. It's not like I'm a big deal or anything, just I'm not going to do it. But nonetheless, I said I wasn't going to do TW anymore. Mainly, I've been burnt out with the game. You know, I've been out for 2 years. Doing this by yourself, it's not really fun to do, per se. But I had this idea back in March, based after the card game WAR, where the card game, of course, is you take 2 cards off the top of the deck, you flip them over, and the highest card value wins, and then you keep on going till the deck is completed, and you flip it over, you just do it again if you want, just keep on going. But with this, I wanted to make WAR based off of booking, based off of wrestling booking, if you will. So the cards would be the wrestlers, and pretty much, so that's 52 people, and you have 2 Joker cards, if you will, if you want to use them, and this will use them. And I pitched this idea to people who've done TW, people who are still doing TW, and people who just watch TW, just a kind of a mass survey, if you will, just a little survey. And I'm glad people participate in that, by the way, just shout out to those people. But asking them about this idea, pitching it, and I pitched it to a couple of people who do TW and who don't do it, to those guys who are involved in TW. I was like, hey, brother, you can do this idea if you want, if you want to do it. And pretty much everybody was like, Max, you should do it. It's your idea. Fuck it. You can do it. More power to you. It's a great idea. As, then it came to the next hurdle into it, because I really didn't think anyone would be like, Max, you should do it. I thought someone would be like, thanks, brother, and just take it and go on with about their fucking day. But nobody took the idea for themselves. So, and you could gladly do this. This is something very simple to do. You could use real cards, or you can use, your fucking just cards on like the internet, like an internet card randomizer thing, if you will. But for this series, we're doing actual cards. So then it came to what promotion. Jokingly, I said to somebody, I was like, yeah, I should just use WAR, from Japan back in the 90s. Just, it's WAR using WAR, it'd be funny type of thing, but just to pop him. But really, that kind of wouldn't be a good idea just because the roster's so small. You need at least 52 people. And then it came to, well, it's a challenge, so why don't we use, obviously it's got to be something with a big roster, but why not challenge yourself? Why not challenge myself, and do a product that I don't really care about? So, ipso facto, the WWE in 2018. And I thought about doing at least 1998 WWE, just because it's, the Monday Night War, so WAR, that idea came up, but I value towards WWE because it's now in April. It's the start of a new year, technically, in the WWE wrestling world. Personally, I don't give a shit about the product, so it helped. 2 birds with 1 stone. Now, in this universe, if you will, this alternate universe, this alternate timeline, whatever you want to call it, I am using Triple H, Paul Levesque, whatever you want to call him, right there, the man himself, as the head honcho of WWE. Now, in this universe, I don't know how to put this lightly, but Vince Kennedy McMahon, is dead. He's dead. He died of a heart attack. Now, just between you and me, viewer, I think that's a little hokey. I think there's something fishy going on with that, and that might be explored here in this series about that. So now, Vince McMahon is dead, Triple H is in charge. Now, Triple H, I've done a little changes in part of the schedule, as we've changed up a little bit. So now, we've brought up the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic, the Mae Young Classic, and the Mixed Match Challenge from I guess, Facebook, if you will, into reality here in this universe. So now in May, there'll be the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic, July, the Young Classic, and in September, 2 nights of the Next Max Challenge. As far as how this war goes, now, the product itself, war is very violent, if you will. It's a very, very violent thing. I wouldn't say it's PG. I would say it's, at the least, PG-13. So we're going to bump the product up. So it's going to be a little bit more risque, and a little bit more towards, not the 18 to 35, more the 13, well, let's just say 10 to 25 demographic. As with the game itself, so I'll be drawing 2 cards from this deck at the beginning of the month. So right now we're in April, we're at the start of April. So at the end of this video, at the end of episode 1 here of WAR, WWE 2018, I will be revealing the 2 cards that will be going head-to-head. Now, unlike the card game WAR, it's not going to be the highest value card wins. No, in this scenario, you, the viewer, will be taking a vote on which card gets fired, because it's going to be between those 2 cards. One card will advance and be safe and keep on going into the universe. The other one will be destroyed, will be fired. So, of course, quick mathematician, we're starting in April, and we're going to probably end in March for Season 1. So, basically, we'll have 24 cards used throughout the game. Now, there will be different types of scenarios. There might be, let's say I do a Raw in Las Vegas. That Raw might have a Raw roulette wheel spin and bam, land on a war match. A war match would be, it'd be just either a singles match, a tag match, whatever it may be based on the cards. Now, the winner of the match will advance, and the loser would be destroyed or fired, if you will. So just kind of, it would also just speed up the game if just speed it up, so we use a good chunk of the deck. There'll also be a War Games match. Could be, I'll say, possibly, be a War Games match. Will it, in this War Games, it'll be based on, there'll also be a poll during the month, but then there'll also be the War Games match. So the War Games match, the leader of the submission, the guy who gets the submission win, will be safe, and so far, and as the rest of his team will be safe. But the guy who tapped out, he will be fired, but the rest of his team will stay. If that makes any sense. I know this is going to be hard to explain without showing it to people, without it happening, but just kind of bear with me here. And as far as the WWE product, I have cut a couple of people already. I have cut the guys that are like 40 plus, pretty much. The Canes, the Big Shows, the R-Truth. I've kept Goldust just because he's a personal favorite, and it'd be fun to use. Other than that, pretty much everybody else has stayed, though, so only like 2 or 3 people. But some of these, it's not like Stephanie McMahon will be a card, or non-WWE workers are on cards or anything like that. For the most part, it's just going to be WWE guys on the main roster. There won't be NXT guys or anything. Now, with that being said, NXT guys, call-ups will happen roughly twice a year. So, it will happen on the next episode, episode 2, as it's starting right after WrestleMania, so that makes sense, and then at SummerSlam. So, that roughly there'll be a couple of eliminations by that point. And with the help of you, because it could be whatever you want to be. Let's say it's Kurt Hawkins and John Cena, and you're like, you know what, Max, I'm going to fuck you over here. John Cena's fired. Or, the WWE World Champion, whoever that may be, against a jobber, pretty much, a guy lower on the card, and you're like, let's make it interesting. Let's fire the WWE Champion. Now, these fires, these eliminations, whatever you want to call them, they can happen many different ways. Creatively, I could kill the character off. I could just, hey, he got fired, and make a little note of it. Or I could actually kill off the character, like he's murdered in this universe. It's many different ways it can happen, as just a part of the universe, if you will, is the ever-going verse of war. As I believe I've covered the war concept. It now comes to a I'll get rid of main event while I'm at it. I'm looking at it. I don't want main event. Let's get that. Oh no, no, not the Dusty Rhodes Classic. I'll do that off screen. It's been so long since I played this game, I don't even know what to do. As far as how's this series gonna go, well, I have a deck of cards in my hand right now, a box deck of cards right now, still in the box. A deck of cards still in the box. And this box is from the Bellagio in beautiful Las Vegas. Shout out to the Bellagio. What a beautiful facility, beautiful casino, hotel, resort, I guess you'd call it. Yeah, that sounds about right. I wouldn't say resort, maybe just beautiful casino, hotel. There we go. I'll get it right eventually. As shout out to the Bellagio, as I have this box of cards, if you will. Now, like I've said, I'm using the 52 deck card plus the 2 Joker cards. Now, as I open up this box here, alright, now we have the cards in my hand. The 2 Joker cards that I discussed, the red Joker card and the black Joker card. The red Joker card is known as the safe Joker. If that gets paired up against whatever card it is, that other card, that, whatever it may be, either a 7 of clubs or a 9 of diamonds, whatever it may be, that card is safe. That person, or persons, I'll leave that little... There may be more than one person on the card. You won't know until that shit happens. He or she is safe. As far as the black Joker card, you do not want that. If you're one of those cards, you want to face that. As that black Joker, that is Black Death. You are automatically eliminated. No matter what. Just no matter what card it is, if you're the WWE champion or the lowest guy on the totem pole, it does not matter. You are immediately gone. There is no pole when that happens. So hopefully that doesn't happen, like back to back. So at least you guys can do a lot of polls. So, with that being said, we'll have, the call-ups are going to be pretty basic to what's going on in the real world right now, what just happened. Ember Moon, No Way Jose, the iconic duos. Bobby Lashley has not been signed to WWE yet. In this save, I'm using the Who's mod, by the way, the Who's April 2018 mod. He does not have Bobby Lashley on the actual roster, so I'm just going to add him. It wouldn't take long. He'll just miss probably a week of television, so he'll show up on week 2 as a big surprise on whichever brand. He might be on Raw, might be on SmackDown, because at that show, the week 2 show, it will be the Superstar Shake-Up show, so we'll also be doing that as well. A lot of different things going on throughout WWE, and trying to make it a different product, because now, with WAR, ever-changing things, it's PG-13, I'm in control of it, a lot of different things. And storyline perspective-wise, sometimes, I'll also say this, the cards that are drawn, they might be a main focus of the show, they might be a back burner of the show, hell, they might not be used at all. I try to keep it ever-changing, just depending on how I feel, depending on how I want to do it. It's all up to me as far as how should I run this war, how should I run this company, this universe. And I thought about, because it's Raw and SmackDown, I thought about having somebody else on this save, on this series. And I could do that. Maybe later on down the line, I'll be like, listen, brother, I need some help. Or, listen, this is getting boring. I could use some, I want to do this with you, type of thing. But, for the most part, that's going forward. So far, it's just going to be me doing it. As I believe I've covered it all. As far as that goes, as far as the war concept, won't go over the roster like I usually do on all my TW episode 1s. just because it'd be long as fuck, and it's WWE 2018. I think everybody knows the roster. I think everybody gets it by now. But with that being said for episode 1, it's time. The big drum roll reveal. As I shuffle up this deck here. I forgot to do that, so let me go ahead and do that while I buy for time. Hope everybody's enjoying the weather, the shows that you've been watching, the wrestling you've been watching, the music you've been listening to. What else can I talk about? Hope everyone's been enjoying my reviews and previews. That's a thing. That's something I wanted to focus on more. And now bringing this back, hopefully that doesn't step into the foreshadow at wrestling weekend that happened during WrestleMania weekend. That was quite some crazy shit. As I think I got it. I should have used an automatic card shuffle. I just brought that out and just been like, just hear a loud ass card shuffle going. But I think I got it. I think I shuffled them pretty well and good. So without further ado, enough time wasting, let's see what the first card is. The Jack of Hearts. And the second card, dun, 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 the Ten of Clubs. So, that is on who will be booked, who might be fired, who might be gone from the WWE, as the Jack of Hearts is Sami Zayn, and the Ten of Clubs is Randy Orton. Wow. As, what a first poll. Sami Zayn and Randy Orton. In the description below, you can click on the poll and vote. Who do you want fired? Do you want Sami Zayn fired? Or do you want Randy Orton fired? Now, what an interesting point we have here with Sami Zayn and the Kevin Owens story. Because with playing up to, well, they were fired, they're gone from SmackDown. So what about Sami Zayn? Is he fired from the WWE entirely? Or does he get put on Raw or somehow make his way onto SmackDown? With Randy Orton, hell, he's been with the company since, what, 2002? People say he's boring as shit. He's pretty goddamn boring. But this is PG-13 now. Maybe Orton's going to step his game up. Maybe he's got a... With Triple H at the helm, maybe he's found some fire. Maybe he's actually interesting for once in his career since 2005. You know, who knows? It's a crazy world we live in. It's war. It's a time of war. Thank you all for watching, and I hope you enjoy this idea. I hope you enjoy this series, and hey, try it out yourselves. Get you a spreadsheet, type them out, you know, replace the Ace of Hearts in all the 4 sets, all 52 cards, with whatever you will,